everybody, it's Thursday and I'm here again for another episode of The Wealthy Writer. Thanks for coming out and thank you to all my new subscribers. It's great having tea with you every Thursday and giving you a few tips about how to become a successful indie author, or even if you are traditionally published, because I have been too. And I just signed for a traditional audio contract too. So I have an audiobook publisher that's traditional. So I guess you'd say I'm what you call a hybrid author, because I am self-published for some of my projects, and in other projects I choose to go with a publisher. We can talk about that more at some point. If you have any questions about that, let me know, because what I'm doing is I will be going step by step as to a progress of how to write your book, publish it using Kindle and other software. I'll be going through all that, but when I get requests, like I did last week from one of my viewers, to talk about how to pull off what I would call a kick butt book signing, I thought, why not offer you guys a few tips about that? Because even if you're someone who's just starting out, like the writers I met last week, I spoke to an old friend's writer's class. I got to messenger on Facebook, so a little bit like Skype, but it worked the very same, and they were able to ask me questions, and it went really well. And they're all starting out writing, and so they had more questions about just basically getting started. So but whether you're just getting started or you're about to go and do a book signing, you will need tips on how to kick butt when you do it. And I didn't have anybody telling me how to do a good book signing. So I asked authors who'd already done it. I didn't have, when you're an indie author, you don't have your publisher at hand all the time to tell you, this is what we're doing, this is how this goes. So you've got to figure it all out yourself. So I asked authors that I had already, I'm gonna come closer because a little more, a little cozier. Plus my tea was burning me. Gotta put it down on the table here. No burnt thighs, please. You have to ask people who know. And so I've done this. I think I've done about at least 12 book signings, and then there's my book launch parties. I went back sometimes with the same book to a bookstore because they asked me back because it had gone so well. So how can you do that? Well, I have 5 fast tips. I try to keep these about 20 minutes, maybe even less if I can do it. Keep it short, and then if you have more questions, please put them at the bottom of this YouTube video. I also go and chat on Facebook on Thursdays, and I'll be there very briefly today, announcing my winner of my giveaway for an Amazon gift card. So, all right, my first tip is flyers. Would you ever think? But yeah, I had an author actually give me this great advice. Make sure you have some reviews about your book on paper. The main thing I found out when I went and did book signings is when people asked me, what's your book about? I was able to do it. I didn't like stutter and really mess up, but it's tough to talk about your own book. And you know what? I think writers are much better. I mean, I'm a speaker too, but I have to work on my notes, memorize the notes, and then I try to go off notes and be candid so it's more natural, but I have a prepared speech. I'm much better in writing. When I wrote my little blurb, which is the back, selling your book on the back, I am much better at describing it when I write it out than when I say it. So unless you memorize what you're going to say, and it can kind of dull to say the same thing to everybody, probably good to have a sentence about your book, but just a sentence. Don't overwhelm them with a paragraph going on and on. You will, first off, people come in the door. Some of them are in coats and hats if you're in Canada. And you'll just bore them, and some of them are there not even to get books. In bookstores like Chapters where I've gone, some of them are just there to get coffee. So if you manage to convince them that day they're buying a book, good luck. And how you do that is keep it simple, stupid. I love KISS. That's good for so many things in life. Keep it simple, stupid. So nobody wants to hear your back cover blurb. What I would suggest is tip number 1 was these flyers. So here's Strangely Incredibly Good. Now this has an awful lot of words on it, and I laminate it. So my first tip is find a program that can do this, or Just if you don't have that many reviews yet, don't worry. Don't worry about it. If you just started out and your book hasn't even been reviewed, it's time to go and get some first reviews. BookFunnel is a fantastic place where you can send your book out. For me, I did a call on social media for initial reviews, I remember years ago, but honestly, BookFunnel is a good way to get them out. And if you're starting your mailing list, then one of the things you could do is looking for reviews of my book. Here's the link to download my book, and BookFunnel will let you send it out free to people. So you can send a free copy so they won't have to pay for it, and then they can give you a review. They will have to put on Amazon that it's an exchange for a review. They have to do it the way that Amazon asks them to. My reviews have all been organic. Every one of them came by just someone willing to do it. At the very start, I had my editor round up people for Strangely Incredibly Good at the beginning. And I knew some poets for my first poetry books, so I asked those poets if they'd be interested. I've never done, you review my book, I'll review yours, and we'll both give each other good ratings. A lot of authors do that, and I highly recommend against that. What's the highly recommend against word? I don't recommend you do that. Even though it takes a long time, let your reviews come by naturally. If you get a good mailing list going, then you can ask people in that, if you'd be so kind as to review my book after you've read it, I'd really love an honest review. And I put honest review because, yeah, you might get someone who got your book for free, you sent it to them, and then they say it's crap and they give you a 1 or 2 star review. But you know what? You really do, as an author, it's hard to take constructive criticism, but constructive criticism is what you need from your editors, from your publishers, not from your family and friends. They don't, I love mine, but they really don't know what they're talking about unless they're standing away from you because they're close to you, right? You need someone who's going to be objective. So you need to find someone who reads that genre and find out what they think about it. All this to say, don't have a lot of reviews, just get a few and get the main words. You could just put words instead of like, these are actual reviews, right? I love this one too, because it's a little less. I didn't do as much for this one. It's the ticket. The ticket was purple once. Now it's changed. It's blue, and it has a plane on it though. And I put a ticket in the background, as you can see. And there's some good reviews there, you know? So you pull out the best reviews from your books, put them on a sheet, laminate it, and then when people come up to you, might come up to you. I'm going to suggest in my tip number 2 is to come up to people, but let's just say, all right, for argument's sake, because you probably think you'll be sitting down at a desk. I actually dissuade you from doing that. The best thing to do, honestly, once in a while you'll be tired. I'm always on my feet, and I was in heels and it was so tiring. So yeah, you'll sit down sometimes, and sometimes people will approach you because you're sitting down having a coffee and maybe you're signing a book for someone. When you're signing books for other people, people come up to you because they're interested. They see a little lineup happening. My suggestion is, try to book a high traffic bookstore because that's going to help you keep busy and have less traffic coming. If you can't get a high traffic bookstore, just get what you can get, be positive, have your book in your hand. Stand by the door, not to attack them when they come in the door, but by the door, and they will come in and they'll probably think that you work there. That's what happened to me all the time. So regardless of whether you sit at the desk or stand there with your book, they're going to think you work there. People aren't always perceptive. They come in, they have a list of things to get for Christmas, or they want to get their coffee, or they want to get their little pillows and candles, and they aren't interested in a new book. That was what I had to deal with half the time. And sometimes they just wanted their coffee. So you'll get that vibe. I think the best thing at book signings is to read people's vibes. And if you get a negative face or a negative vibe and they walk right past you, you don't go chase after them. But you can stand there with your book and you have this little laminated card. But you also have to, now this is from Caged, but make, at least 100 paper versions of these. So this is a color review sheet, and I had a laminated one too. You laminate it to have it on your desk. So people who come up who are really interested will look at these when they ask about your book. You can hand it to them, but the best thing to do is if they're showing interest, hand them this, let them read it, and then if they go to put it back, but they're walking away, say, oh, well, if you want to keep that, you can. But you have to also gauge, like I said, gauge body language, because sometimes you can tell they weren't interested at all, and you don't want them to take away your 50-cent sheet, because I think it was around that. Well, maybe it was less than that. That's not true. I'm thinking about my business cards, which could be 50 cents a shot, or my bookmarks. These came out color copies. I think they were 40 cents, maybe 30. You can also do black and white, but I just love these, and these really help sell my books. People will grab your books that are on the table, but the problem is sometimes they take them and then they take them to the coffee region and they just put them down, and then they never buy them, and you've lost some of your stock. So these sheets were my godsend. I love them so much. I recommend them to any author out there. And something else I want to say is, why am I giving away all my best tips? Because there's something to be said for passing down what you know to the next person. It's karma. I wish I'd had more authors who knew how to be an indie publisher and author back when I started 5 years ago. I've been an author and writing for 20 years, but doing it all on my own the last 5 years, I wish I had more Mark Dawsons, Alicia Hyder, Alyssa Lorello, Denise Duffield-Thomas, more and more authors that have helped me. I'm going to get emotional now. You guys have been so helpful, and I wish I had you 5 years ago, giving me hints like this. Have at least 100 of these sheets to pass out. Be positive you're going to have 100 people who want it. Don't pass them out to anybody walking by. Oh, want a flyer? Want a flyer? Have a conversation first with them. So go up with them. This is my sequel to Strangely Incredibly Good. So this is what you can do. This is my suggestion, okay? You don't have to do it exactly my way, but this is the starter for you. They come in. Positive face, they look happy. Okay, approach them. Hi, I'm a local author. You give your name. Hi, I'm Heather Grace Stewart. I'm a local author here. I was wondering if you read science fiction, romantic. By the way, my book is science fiction, romantic comedy, science fantasy, romance fantasy, and I do it because I switch genres in it. Not so much in the ticket. The ticket is just romantic, contemporary romance with comedy in it. And I gauge the person. If it was a senior citizen, I often said science fiction because I was thinking a lot of them don't always want a romance. But you never know. Sometimes I had someone who was 85 going, give me some romance. There's erotica in here. I don't have a lot of erotica in my books, but there's a little bit, and it's light. And my editors for this one, because this is the first published by a traditional publisher, it was more toned down, and then I got a little raunchier in my other ones. You really have to read people's faces and expressions and how busy they are, and did they, what mood are they in? Now, all that to say, if you're a shy person, sure, sit at your table. It's really okay. You can sit at the table, but it would be great if you made eye contact and looked up and smiled. I have found the technique of walking up or being in the vicinity of people looking at books. Sometimes I saw people looking at books at the front table, the really popular front table books. And I'd say, are you looking by chance for a romance? And they go, actually, yeah, I need a beach read for the summer. And then I'd continue the conversation. If they said no, I said, oh, okay. But you don't know if you don't try. You have to try. So I hope that helps with tip number 1. Approach people. Well, that's 2 tips. Approach the people with your book. Say that you're a local author. People love that. I hope you're taking notes. The best advice I can give really helped me were these sheets. Laminate 1. Print out 10. Have the laminated ones at your table and say, oh, please, if somebody takes it, because they will start to take it, oh, those are my copies, but you're welcome to read them. And sometimes people were grabbing at them, all wanting to read my reviews, which is great. So you need the other copies and say, oh, here you go. And you'd hand people the other copies. I have so many tips. This might be a 2-part series this time, guys, because I'm already at 14 minutes. Wow. Okay. I'm going to split this in 2 and come back with more tips. I know that my viewer has a late December, maybe I can go into more detail next time. Her late December signing, I don't want to, okay, the next things you can do, I can say quickly and I can go into more detail next time, okay? Because I always promise these will be short and sweet. So Ask if they read in your genre. If they don't, you're wasting your time. Really, people are very hell-bent on reading a certain genre. If they're mystery readers, they're mystery readers. I had so many people over the years saying, oh God, no, I only read Stephen King. I'm serious. Or I only read Nicholas Sparks. That is so common, you'll be surprised. People don't read outside their genre. So ask before. So do you happen to read fantasy romance? Do you happen to read paranormal romance? Do you happen to read mysteries? And if they don't, oh, okay, that's what I write. I'm a local author. But sometimes they might bite. Really? You're a local author? Oh, well, I read other genres too. And then you can talk to them. You have to open the discussion. If you're sitting at your little desk with your coffee and you never spoke to them, but you smile, you didn't find out about them. They didn't find out about you. You have to ask the questions. So flyers, laminated reviews also. Hold your book in your hand. Mention you're a local author. Ask if they read in your genre. And then I'll go into more detail next time because this already took 15 minutes. I have a lot of knowledge about book signings because all of mine have done really well. I remember one time, well, that's not true. Not all of them have done really well. I had one in Kingston and I sold one book over 4 hours. It was really a bad weather day and it was a bad location. It wasn't downtown. And I ended up reading from my poetry book. It wasn't caged. I'm gonna hold up my most recent poetry book, but it was called Carry On Dancing. And I had scheduled a reading and I just decided the show must go on. And I had a friend there with me, Christine, and I read to her and I read like this and she kept applauding. And then a few people came by and gathered around me. But I really felt like I was doing a reading for zero, her and one other person kind of thing. And it was a little upsetting. And then I realized that happens. That's going to happen. You're going to have big disappointments. You might have nobody come up. You might sell 0 books. You might sell 2 books. Everything is a step forward for an author though, guys, because with those sheets in their hands and your bookmarks, which I suggest you make bookmarks and put them in your books that you sell, but the bookmarks advertise the next book. I'll show you the bookmarks next time. I will talk to you about getting a theme to tie it all together. A theme is really nice. Let's say your book is about camping. Get some camping chairs and an old lantern and put them on the table and arrange, and people will come up to you automatically. What's going on? What is this? If you make a theme. So we'll talk about the theme, the bookmarks, and a bit more about approaching people because some of you might be shy about that. I can have more tips about that. And then for those of you who have written more than one book, I will show you next time my ribbon theory. I've got a ribbon theory and it's true. It has proven scientifically by Heather's Science true to do with ribbon, especially at Christmas, like this nice gold one. So I'm sure you can guess what my trick is. And then this trick too. Get one of these from Vistaprint to put your business cards in. People love grabbing them. And so even if they're interested but don't have time to listen to your spiel, they'll grab one and then they've got your name and your website on there. So about not selling a lot or not having a lot of people come to a reading. It can be soul crushing. You can take it that way, and I definitely did sometimes. I was like, wow, this is embarrassing. I suck. Nobody's showing up. Nobody's buying these books. They'll look at the back and then they put it down and go away. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Does that mean my back blurb is terrible? You know what? There's so many. You'll never know why someone doesn't buy a book or why someone doesn't show up to a reading and said they would and then doesn't show up. But if you keep on going, like anything in life, successful people are the ones who didn't give up. And that really is the biggest secret. Persistence, perseverance. And I want you guys to persevere. So if you're just still writing your first few paragraphs of your book and you're really frustrated, just remember, everybody has to start somewhere. And the secret is to keep going. If you quit at becoming an author, then you never will become an author. If you keep going, you're going to be having setbacks. You're going to have times when you have one person applauding your reading. And then you're going to have stories like that now. Because now I've had readings where I've had 30 people. And some important politicians from my town came out. I was floored. It was so nice that they all came out. I had my name on the little board with lights that our city has. It said that I was going to be reading at a library. I took a photograph of that. That was insane. And that took 4 years after my first book came out. I think it's 4 years. So, you know what? You want the stories of the challenges because they will remind you of how long it took you to get where you are. So don't give up. Keep on writing. I want you to still write every morning or evening if you're an evening writer this week. Tell me how it's going. And please don't be shy about asking questions on the video because I can chat with you here. And I will do some more on Kick Butt book signings next time. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend. And to my American friends, happy Thanksgiving.